COP26, talking about all the things that world leaders could potentially do to solve the climate change problem, right? It's a big circle jerk. That's what it is, right? That's all it is. It's this fucking giant circle jerk of like rich, powerful fucking leaders talking about like, you know, well, how are we going to solve this problem? Oh, I don't know. It requires a lot of money. You know? Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, we'll fix it. They're just passing the buck off to the next generation. Anyway. So...
is actually where we're going to begin this morning because President Biden has arrived in Scotland hoping to restore America's credibility and leadership on tackling the problem. He left Rome this morning to attend the UN Climate Change Conference in Glasgow alongside leaders...
In Glasgow? What is Glasgow? It's Glasgow?
...of other countries that adopted the 2015 Paris Agreement. All of this comes after the president spent the weekend in Italy at the G20 summit. Weijia Zhang has been traveling with Mr. Biden, and she's in Edinburgh, Scotland for us this morning. Weijia, how are you?
Edinburgh, Scotland. It's Edinburgh.
I'm great, Tony, and I hope you guys are as well. President Biden put climate change at the front and center of his agenda on day one when he rejoined that Paris Agreement after his...
Sick. We're so fucked, dude. You guys, I'm sure many of you already saw this, but like what did they have? They had all the world leaders get together and like throw coins into a fucking fountain, right? To like make a wish to solve climate change. And it's like, dude, you guys are if you can't, like, that's what I would do. Okay. That's like when I was fucking 14 and I was like, oh man, like I wish I could lose weight. You know what I mean? Like you have the power. Like, functionally, we thought that you had the power. Why are you doing this? Why are you literally fucking throwing a penny in the fountain with high hopes? What's happening? If you are doing that, then I don't know what the fuck I mean, like, what are we doing? World leaders toss a coin at Trevor for good luck fighting the climate emergency. Like, who do they think? Who's gonna do it? Who's gonna do that? I thought it was you guys. I thought we throw the coins and then you guys act on that need, right? It's like beyond a demand at this point. It's funny that you're the only American that can actually pronounce Scottish cities correctly. Edinburgh. Yeah. Yeah, this is my leader. These are my leaders. We're going to die, bro. I mean, it's true, though. We're never solving climate change. We are never solving climate change. If, like, the world leaders are getting together to talk about how to solve the problems that come along with climate change, and, like, this is what they're doing, I mean, this is the best that they're doing. This is the most initiative I've seen from them so far. You know, that's what they're all there to come up with solutions. Yeah, it's not enough yet, but that's what they're there for. Yeah, 26 years, dude. This one will take. This year, they're still looking for solutions. I'm just looking for, dude, come on, bro. They're just like looking for solutions still. No, you know what they're looking for solutions for? First of all, let me just say something. One of the things that they're actually looking for a solution for is the inevitable mass migration that is going to happen as a consequence of the global south getting absolutely eviscerated by climate change. Okay, because here I'll use America as an example. When natural disasters occur on U.S. territories or on U.S. soil, if it's a place like Puerto Rico that already is like in debt, that already has like crippling or crumbled infrastructure, when an insane fucking erratic weather condition that is extreme and like normally once in a lifetime, doesn't really happen all that often, hits Puerto Rico, then there is no way to solve that problem. Like, we just will never be able to fully fix Puerto Rico, right? It's just too fucking expensive, right? If it hits the mainland, depending on where it's hitting, you can kind of patch it up, but the poor people suffer in that situation. Now expand upon that, because that's a microcosm of the problem, and then expand upon that and think about it from a global perspective. When that shit hits like Haiti, Haiti's fucked, okay? What are the Haitian people going to do? Well, they're going to want to come to America. So that's the real problem for a lot of these world leaders. When they go to these sorts of conferences, they're like, yeah, what the fuck are we going to do about these like fucking migrants that are coming in? You know what I mean? That's the real inevitable disaster from climate change. Not necessarily like actual solutions. And they're not going to come up with actual solutions, because the actual solutions, and conservatives are kind of right on this, the actual solutions come from eliminating the profit motive and drastically reconsidering the way that we look at commodity production and the way that we look at energy production. Like, there's no other way to do it, whether it be like just straight up government regulation or full-blown undermining capitalism. A little bit of undermining capitalism is a necessity. And considering the reality that all of these people are still bought and sold by the same corporate benefactors, that's the reason why the best they can do is toss a coin to the Witcher, okay, in the fountain, and hope that one day magically we will eradicate the problems. You know what I mean? That's it.
Predecessor pulled out of it. But as this summit is unfolding here in Scotland, lawmakers in his own party continue to negotiate legislation that includes more than $500 billion to help combat the problem.
They know me, I know them. We can get things done together.
President Biden argued his personal relationships with other world leaders allowed them to make tangible progress at the G20 summit in Rome.
We passed a number of things here to end the subsidization of coal. We made commitments here from across the board, all of us, in terms of what we're going to bring to the G26.
But he said when it comes to climate change, the focus should be on what countries like Russia, China, and Saudi Arabia are not doing.
Not only Russia, but China basically didn't show up in terms of any commitments to deal with climate change.
The leaders who...
Wait, am I crazy? I feel like as far as like a recently developing nation goes, am I wrong I thought that China was doing fairly well with respect to tackling climate change. Like developing papaya. I mean, obviously like India and China, maybe not Russia, but and Saudi Arabia, but like, didn't they recently say that per capita China is not that bad, but they only look at total to make them look bad? China is a world leader in renewable energy installation by volume. Yeah, I mean, they're also a gigantic country that is like, you know, having its industrial revolution in front of our fucking eyes. So, or basically on the tail end of that industrial revolution, but still, like, you know, they didn't have 400 fucking years of, you know, sucking on the teat of natural resources of the third world in the same way that like Western capitalist nations were able to industrialize over the course of like many fucking centuries. But even then, with respect to like how quickly they blew the fuck up, like criticizing China from that point of view by just looking at the totality of their coal consumption is, I don't know. Maybe they're doing it secretly though. So maybe I'm wrong. Even with Russia. China has a lot of renewable energy production and is expected to reach carbon neutral by 2060. By US by comparison is 2050. However, their energy consumption is still increasing and is only expected to peak in 2030, which is pretty fucking bad. China manufacturing is the heart of solar panel manufacturing anyways. I mean, I remember reading reports about both Russia and China, but especially China, taking a lot of efforts to greatly increase their renewable energy production, even like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Regardless, though, of course, China and India and other countries that are still at the precipice of like their own industrial revolution, or still at the tail end of their own industrial revolution, are greatly going to increase their need for coal. That's what happens when you fucking have. That's what happens when you become a wealthy nation. That's what happens when your nation and the material conditions of your nation improve. It's just the unfortunate reality. He meant China didn't go to the event. That's it. Yo, President Xi Jinping, you didn't throw a coin in the pool. And let me tell you something. I don't like that. You needed to toss a coin in the pool, Mr. Jinping. That's right, Xi. Anyway, you don't have. I don't know why you put it in emote mode, but that's fine. We can take it off then.
Who attended the summit pledged to work to limit global warming, but offered few firm commitments. Secretary of State Antony Blinken insisted the talks were a launching point for future work.
This is not tomorrow's problem. This is today's problem.
President Biden also faced questions about his political standing back home. A new poll shows his approval rating has declined by 7 points since August, and 71% of Americans say the
this is the cumulative CO2 emissions. Wait, cumulative? Of course, cumulative. The United States is gonna fucking blow everybody out of the water. If you look at cumulative CO2 emissions, obviously, like, yeah, no shit. The United States has been an industrialized nation for a lot longer than fucking China has, dude. That's ridiculous. But if you're looking at like currently what their output looks like, or what their cumulative, or not cumulative, but like what their CO2 emissions look like per capita. Lifetime CO2 is high, so all the US is still up there. That's why it's relevant. Yeah, of course. I mean, I already covered that part, though. Obviously, the United States is going to fucking literally be the largest source of fossil fuel, cement, and cumulative CO2 emissions. Like, that's ridiculous. It's about, would Russia or China help us if we were invaded by space aliens? What is this fucking shit, dude? Their output is literally to provide Americans with consumer goods. 99% of the CO2 is due to America. Okay, not 99%. That's crazy. But I think that CO2 emissions per capita, America still beats China. Again, for understandable reasons. China is fucking massive. And there's still like, there are still rural areas in China where fucking millions of people live. And obviously it's not as well developed as the damn near entirety of the United States. CO2 emissions per capita, if you look at it per ton, obviously China emits the most, right? In 2016, China emitted the most. Well, if you look at per capita, on the other hand, though, obviously, China is not going to be as high as the United States of America. Considering the reality that the United States is more developed. This is how it works. Currently, China outputs 2 times as much, but half as much per capita as the US. The US is 2 times X historically, which matters because it's all still in the atmosphere. India, nowhere near any of us. 1/8 as much as US per capita. Yes, it is about developing these countries. The more developed countries become, the more they fucking emit CO2. That's just how it works. Wealthy nations lead the per capita emissions. Yeah, US, Canada, Australia, South Korea, Japan, Germany, Russia, Iran, UK, Poland, Italy, Malaysia. What the fuck? Malaysia? Anyway. You're totally missing the point. The issue is that China and India don't need to deploy these types of assets anymore, as renewable plus natural gas is enough to support their industrialization. Yeah, is that why the United States is not doing it then? The fuck kind of take is that? Like, fossil fuel is still the most efficient energy. Like, that's just the reality. It's still the most bang for your buck. So no, it's not. Wait, oh, we got fucking we got nuke. I mean, it is the cheapest. It's like natural gas to fossil fuel, dude. Not true anymore. Okay, guys, we're not talking about nuclear right now. We're talking about renewable energy is quite competitive with fossil fuels. The countries are simply producing the most for this, U.S. companies and U.S. adjacent companies. Also, steel is carbon intensive, so actually building things and developing is intensive, which is what the neoliberal hegemony wants. He could promote degrowth, but line go down. Cost effective, not efficient. Oh, fuck. I don't have a New York Times subscription anymore. Okay. Coal is still cheaper, or fossil fuels in general, not just coal, but fossil fuels in general, in comparison to renewable energies, is still, it's still overall cheaper and more efficient. There's a reason why people still want to use it. Fossil, it's the easy one. You can pay for what you get. 100% solar, wind, green. Shit is not. It's the capitalistic system. The choice is obvious. Anyway, so without getting into the additional details about nuclear, you want to know why France is so low relative to other? I know France is lower than all these other wealthy nations because they have nuclear power. I know. I got it. I love nukes. Okay, nuke me up, daddy. Okay, I want to I literally want to live in a pool of like radiated water. To end this argument, rather than debating the you know, safety of nuclear waste and storage of nuclear waste, or like how, you know, there's actually going to be technology in the future where like nuclear waste can be reconsidered and reused, so it doesn't even matter, blah blah blah, and we're not just like putting it under a fucking, we're not putting it underground somewhere. I know, I got it. You're right. I'm sorry. We need degrowth, not solar. Okay, dude. Anyway. At the very least, modern economies should be subsidizing transition to renewables in developing countries if we don't want developing countries to use a fair share of the global carbon budget. I agree. I mean, that's one of the things that they're supposed to be talking about here, aren't they?
The country is headed in the wrong direction.
I didn't run to determine how well I'm going to do in the polls.
The president was hopeful that both his Build Back Better agenda and infrastructure bill would pass in Congress by the end of next week.
Combined, they have $900 billion in climate resistance and dealing with climate and resilience. And it's the largest investment in the history of the world that's ever occurred. And it's going to pass.
But progressives like Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders want assurances that moderate Democrats, namely Arizona's Kyrsten Sinema and West Virginia's Joe Manchin, are fully on board.
You don't have to have all of the legislative language, but you have to have a statement which says A, B, C, D, and E is going to be in the package, and 50 members of the Senate are supporting it.
White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, who did not come on this trip with President Biden, tested positive for COVID-19 on Sunday. In a statement, Psaki said that she last saw President Biden on Tuesday.